Good morning everyone and welcome to this beautiful mountain lake where we're going to start the day's adventures. We're heading deeper into the mountains over in this direction. It's just before 9 in the morning and I'm leaving the RAV4 behind to continue around the lake on foot here. I've got I think it's about 5 miles and a few thousand feet of elevation gain to get to where I want to go today. And again, it is a beautiful morning. It's going to be a beautiful day. I am worried a little bit about the weather. The clouds don't look especially welcoming, but we'll work with what we've got here. This is Middle Piney Lake. I'm in the Wyoming range in western Wyoming. This is a mountain range that's a little bit overshadowed by some other mountain ranges in the area, namely the Tetons and the Wind Rivers. This range isn't quite as rugged and dramatic as those ranges, but it is still really beautiful. I mean, as we can see here, again, awesome lake views, even just from the start of this hike here. It took me about 2 hours, maybe a little bit more, to drive here this morning from home. It's been a good morning so far, and it's going to be a long day, but I'm really excited. This is a mountain range that I've driven through, and I've done a little bit kind of around the periphery of the range, but I haven't really penetrated this mountain range before, and so I'm looking forward to it. Been hiking for a little under an hour and a half now, and I've gone about 3 miles. Beautiful scenery. It's a beautiful scenery. It's a little bit overcast, but that's keeping it cool. And I've stopped at this pretty little waterfall here. I tried to cross the creek the first time by stepping on the logs and the rocks in there, but right away my foot slipped off into the water, so then I just walked right through the creek. Let's see what we have for a snack here. I think I'll have a bobo bar, lemon poppy seed oat bar, and some beef jerky, as I enjoy the sound of the forest and the sound of the waterfall here. From here on out, I'm going up the mountain. Like, I've been sort of more or less in this valley here, but I think from here on we're gonna gain a few thousand feet in elevation, so I'd better have some calories in me. One more thing before I leave this spot. As I was just sitting here, I realized that this waterfall is actually much taller than I thought it was. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of white water right here, so the cascade starts at least up here, but it's hidden by the foliage and it tumbles down here. And the sign said that this was the upper falls. The sign is over here, and I think there's a lower waterfall too, but I've scoped it out and it seems pretty tricky to get to, so I think we'll skip that one and continue on up the trail and up the mountain. You know what? Nuts to that. I've gone a little bit further and I think I found a little path that leads down to the left to where we can maybe get a view of the lower waterfall. It's a steep little traverse here though. Well, I think I've gone as far down as I can. There's this neat little, like, I don't know, 6 or 8 foot high waterfall here, and I'm close to the top of the main lower waterfall, but I can't really see any way to get around it. To get around to the bottom, I mean. So I would like to be able to get down to here and look up and give you guys and myself a nice view of the waterfall here, but I mean, this slope is just, I mean, that's not really something I want to tackle right now on the left side. And then on the right side, there's another creek coming down through here, and so this is just all steep and brushy and basically inaccessible. I think that if you wanted to view this waterfall from down below, you'd have to go way downstream, bushwhack down to the creek, and then bushwhack up to the bottom. And that's just not something that I've budgeted time or energy for. So we'll take a look at this from here, enjoy the view of the lower falls, enjoy the view of this little one right here. And now I'll get back up to the trail and continue my way on up the mountain. Well, not a whole lot to report. Just been hiking and enjoying the beautiful scenery. I'm not quite above tree line, but the trees are getting pretty thin up here. This mountain over here is about 10,500 feet high, and this one over here is 11,300 and something, and that's the one that I've come up here to climb. That is called Wyoming Peak, which is a fitting name for the highest mountain in the Wyoming range. It's not the highest mountain in Wyoming, it's far from that. I think this is like the 6th or 7th highest mountain range in Wyoming, but it is the highest in this area, and so I had to climb it. I came up from down here and I've been traversing along, horizontally more or less along this bench here. And when I came up here, I took a right turn on the trail that went like this, and that trail is called I think it's called the Wyoming Crest National Recreation Trail, or something like that. And it's a 75-mile long footpath that goes along the full length of this mountain range. I think that would be a really fun adventure to do at some point in the future. And if you're a backpacker looking for an off the beaten path adventure, I think that would be a pretty darn good one. So again, I'm heading up here. I think I go to this gap first between these two mountains and then kind of hang a left and wend my way up the mountain. And then this is looking in the other direction. The sky has remained gray and a little bit threatening, and it's raining a little bit now. But as of now, the weather is pretty tame. It's just a little bit of a sprinkle, pretty benign. If I start hearing thunder, then I'll get concerned, but for now, it's pretty tame up here. And if the rain really starts to come down, I do have a rain jacket. I think I have a poncho in there somewhere, in my backpack somewhere. And I can always take shelter in some of these trees up here if I need to. Hopefully it won't come to that, but you never quite know in the mountains, do you? Oh, I made it to that pass between the two mountains. Oh, and this is where I'm going in a minute, once I catch my breath, once I have a snack. On the map that I have, it shows a trail going up the mountain here, but I don't see anything. Maybe once I actually get going, I'll be able to find a semblance of a trail, but for now, just looks like a steep slope of loose rocks. This is a very steep and not altogether pleasant climb. I've made it up to a line of cliffs here that I need to tackle, but it's raining again, so I'm gonna see if I can find like an overhang in the cliffs and try to wait out the rain. Well, I found my little lair that I'm gonna try to hole up in here. There's a little bit of an overhang above me that I think will keep the worst of the rain off of me. I'm getting rained on a little bit, but I think this is the best I can do for now. I'm about 400 vertical feet up from that little saddle down there, and still about 600 vertical feet from the summit above me. I'm looking out, you can see how it's a little bit misty, a little bit rainy. It's beautiful though. Well, it's been about 15 minutes, and I think the rain has mostly blown over. At least this particular section of rain cloud has blown over. And this isn't a very comfortable perch. It did the job, it sheltered. Whoa. It sheltered me most of the way from the rain, but I think it's time to get going again. It's about, I don't know, 20 minutes later, and I've emerged kind of on this rounded ridge. I'm going up this slope that's just loose rocks here, and it's times like this that I just think to myself, why am I doing this? Like, this terrain is so just unpleasant to walk on, this loose rocks, with every step your foot shifts a little bit, and it's just like, ugh. But I don't regret it because this is beautiful scenery. I love this part of Wyoming. It doesn't matter which mountain range you choose in Wyoming, it's going to be a good one, and that's proving to be the case here. But let me show you what I still have ahead of me here. This is where I'm headed. It is more of the same all the way to the top. I'm about, I don't know, 200 or 300 vertical feet below the top, which I think is this, unless that's a false summit, but I think that's the actual top of the mountain. Onward and upward. And it's raining again now. I'm only about 100 feet from the top now, and the rain has stopped. It only lasted a few minutes. And I'm starting to see some debris here, which means I'm getting close to the top. Very close. And here we are finally at the summit. Let's go stand on top of the pile of rubble here, preferably without stepping on a nail and getting tetanus. I think this is about it. I think this is the high point. This pile of rubble here behind me used to be a fire lookout. I did see a picture online from the 80s where this was still standing. So sometime after that, I'm guessing in the 90s, this thing collapsed. And so now it's just a pile of junk, a pile of wood, and there are some cans and some broken glass thrown in here for good measure. It's a shame because otherwise this is a beautiful place, beautiful summit, great views. So I came up from over here. The lake where I started, Middle Piney, is kind of near the bottom of these landslides here. It's down in here. And so from there, I went up this valley and then kind of came over, and then that pass was down here. So I went straight up from the pass, and here we are. So this is the highest mountain in the Wyoming range, like I said, and the second highest is right here. This is called Mount Coffin. This is looking north. Down out here, so you might remember if you're a longtime viewer of the channel, a video I recorded last year, and I called it something like "This place is free campsite heaven" or "boondocking heaven." And in that video, I drove for dozens and dozens of miles along a dirt road that followed the Grays River. It followed Grays River through here. And I drove past this mountain down here. There's a road you can take that goes all along this mountain range. And I decided back then, last year, to climb this mountain. I'll put a picture or some video of this mountain from out here somewhere, if I can find that footage. But interestingly, there is another group here, another party on the mountain next to me. You probably won't be able to see them, but they are right on the top. There are 2 or 3 people right on the summit there. I think that mountain is called March Madness Peak. And then here is the rest of the Wyoming range. This is awesome. I haven't seen anyone else today. I don't think there's anyone hiking on this side of the mountain where I've been. There is more activity, more climbing activity of this mountain from the other side, from the Grays River Road side. From there's a trailhead somewhere over here, and you can hike up to here. It's a shorter trail, I think, and not as much elevation gain, but I've already been over on that side, so I wanted to see what the other side of the mountains was like. If it were a clear day, we'd be able to see the Wind River Range. I think I can kind of see the outline of those mountains on the horizon over there. And then we should be able to see the Tetons somewhere to the north too. But again, it's clear right now in my immediate vicinity, but there are a lot of clouds around. And so somewhere over here are the Tetons. But no matter, we've got beautiful mountain scenery around here. And if the Tetons are too crowded for you, then I think this mountain range, the Wyoming range, is a great alternative. It's not as rugged as the Tetons, but still just a beautiful, beautiful mountain range. I think this pipe bomb looking thing is a summit register. Let's see if I can, oh yeah, got the top off. Let's see when the last person was to climb this. Looks like a week ago. It's the last time people were up here. All right, I'm gonna sign this and have a snack and enjoy the view a little bit, but then I wanna get out of here. There's, the weather is holding, but over here, let me show you. There's a storm over here and I can hear thunder coming from that storm. You can see the rain coming down over there. And I think the wind is blowing it toward me. And so let's get out of here. It's still several miles away. I'm not in immediate danger here, but best not dilly-dally while we're up here. And then I guess one more thing I wanted to point out, these mountains to the west of me here. This is the Salt Range, I think it's called, or Salt River Range. It's the mountain range that parallels the Wyoming range. So this is the Wyoming range here. And then there's the Grays River that separates this range from the Salt River Range over there. And if you're familiar with this area, Star Valley, Wyoming is over here, and then Jackson, Wyoming is to the north. I was considering climbing Mount Coffin today also, but given the not perfect weather, not stellar conditions here. I think we're gonna scrap that, but I am gonna head down in that direction. My game plan is to go down to this little saddle, this notch between the two peaks, and from there I'll descend down into this green bowl, and then I think I can find a trail that leads back out this valley over here, which is the neighbor to the valley that I came up. So I came up here, I'm gonna go down here, then I'll need to get back to the starting trailhead, because the two trailheads here do not connect, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And by the way, it took me about 5 hours to get here. The distance was 6 miles with 2,642 feet of elevation gain. So like I said, gonna have a snack up here and then head down that way to the saddle and then down into that green bowl, that green basin. It's been about an hour since I left the top of Wyoming Peak back there, and I've made it down into the bowl, into the green basin, and I've made it to the trail. So I'm following an actual path now instead of you know, just making my own way cross country. And it's beautiful, beautiful place here. Here's a look up at Coffin Peak. Oh, there's a hummingbird right here. I doubt you guys can see it, but there's a hummingbird hanging out. Anyway, this is Coffin Peak. Impressive aspect of the mountain here. And just lots of green, and the sun has actually come out and there's blue sky. It's amazing. I thought this was kind of neat. This creek here just kind of starts. You know, there's not a spring. It just starts. I think it's probably snowmelt from higher up the mountain, which we can't really see here. I think it's gone underground, and then it emerges right here. Isn't that neat? Anyway, this is the way I'm heading down out of the bowl and down, further down into the canyon. Alrighty, I am back at the trailhead, at the other trailhead, a different one from the one I started at, but I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. I left the top of Wyoming Peak, which is back there somewhere, 3 hours and 20 minutes ago, 7.2 miles ago, and this trailhead is actually really, really pretty. It starts on the side of this valley here, beautiful rocky, craggy peaks with a little meadow stream running through here. And this is the high country. This is where we were a few hours ago. But we're now at the trailhead, and this here is my secret weapon. I brought my bike up this morning and I drove to this trailhead first before I drove to the other one where I parked my car. I dropped off my bike here, and so I'm going to use this to bike I think about 4 miles back to the other trailhead, which is basically on the other side of this mountain over here. So I'm going to ride a couple miles this way, turn the corner, ride a couple miles this way to the lake, which is on the other side over here. And the weather's been holding. The weather's been decent on the hike down, and I didn't film too much on the way down because it was just forest, and so I just wanted to cover miles and get back to the bike here. But it is starting to rain yet again for like the, I don't know, 4th or 5th time today, and I'm hearing some thunder over there too. So I think I'm just gonna start biking, and if I have to pull over and take shelter under a tree. You know, wouldn't be the first time. So let's hop on the bike and cover these 4 miles. It's a couple hours later now, and welcome to camp. The original plan was to try to get to where I want to be tomorrow, but I ran out of daylight. So I've pulled over and I'm camping here on BLM land. You can see this is I think this is Fontenelle Reservoir over there. The Green River is over here, and it's a nice spot. Again, the weather is a little bit threatening, but should be fine tonight. And for this being the desert, there are actually quite a few mosquitoes out, more than I would have thought. So I'm gonna hop back in the car, but I did want to walk out over here a little bit. As I was just kind of walking around my campsite here, I heard what sounded like a dog barking over here. I just want to make sure that there isn't a little dog with a broken leg or something out here. It didn't sound like a coyote, and so I just want to double check here. But hope you guys enjoyed the video. This one was a little bit more tame, I think, or at least less frantic than some of my other videos, in that, you know, today I just wanted to go for a hike. And, you know, we saw a couple waterfalls and that was fun, but mostly it was just a hike in the beautiful mountains up to the top of a mountain, and just gorgeous scenery. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think as I try to, oh man, I'm getting eaten alive here. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your favorite part was. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys in the next one. And I'll put on the screen here if I find a dog, but I don't think I will. I haven't heard it's barking for a little bit, which is a little bit worrying, but I'll wander around a little bit. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Be sure to check out Adventure Know-How, my new site, where you can gain access to a map of all of my free campsites, plus monthly bonus videos that you won't find anywhere else. Learn more at adventureknowhow.com. And for links to everything else SUV RVing related, visit suvrving.com. Links to these sites and more will be in the video description.